シャーロック・ホームズチャプター1続きをプレイしていきたいと思います。ともきちいらっしゃい。超久しぶりだね。1週間以上はゲーム配信やってなかったからね、いろいろバタついていたもので、よいしょ、コンティニュー。どこまでやったっけ？
Look, the cutest thing you'll see all day. Hamlet staged by children.
小さなハムレット？違う、ここ？ん？
Oh, so it has taken root. What's taken root? As I recall, when we were growing up, this theatre didn't welcome kids. You've forgotten, John. Come to the back entrance and I'll refresh your memory.
これまた違う事件か。あれ、今探してる事件どこだっけ？喫煙室。ここ。やべえ、オートセーブになったから場所がわかんねえな。しかもシャーロック・ホームズ久しぶりだからどこで事件が起きてたか忘れちゃった。どこだ？これか。これだっけ？これか。
Welcome, sir.
ね、これで奥の祭壇で殺人事件が起きてたんだよ。うん。で、こっちの方を探そうっつって時間がなかったから前回終わりにしたんだったっけ。
A person leaned against the door frame. They left a smudged trail of blood.
今日休みで水分取ってなくて長風呂したら脱水で頭痛になったまあたまにはゆっくりするのもいいけどね、お風呂入ると意外と汗かくからね。
A bloody handprint on an armchair.
頭痛え？
The wounded person was here for some time. There appear to be no further traces leading to the altar.
ゆっくりしすぎもあかんな。適度な運動？うん。適度に運動してね。血で汚れている。適度な運動、適度な睡眠、適度な食事だよ。で、この鍵？この鍵どこに使うんだろう。衣装室。
Identical to the robes the guests are wearing.
はお。
Props, decorations, and tools for a more detailed set.
犯人が客に紛れ込んでるってことか。
Similar to the guests' robes, apart from the bloodstains. Handcrafted and luxurious cufflinks. There's also a note. For my Fabio, Manchos. The key is similar to the one that Vogel gave me. The capital F on the key fob might refer to Fabio.
あとどこだ
Would you recognize me in one of these? I suppose not.
こっちは開いちゃう。で、ここに繋がってんのか。
This one looks like a twisted symbol of Venus, drawn in a hurry. This elaborate box must be for the ritual dagger. This oil has a slight aroma of flowers and olive.
調べられるとこはだいたい調べたか。
The sign reminds me of the astrological symbol for Mars.
こいつに話を聞く？
You've got a lot to do, Sherlock.
はいはい。なんか手がかり。あとは何をどうすればいいんだっけ？なんか他に手がかりないかな。この鍵どこで使うんだろう。一生部屋なんか他にない？
The pitcher is empty, but with puddles around it. Blood clots are adhered to the sides of the drain.
あと手がかりなんもないか。頭痛で何もやる気起きないなうまあね、頭痛いと何もやる気起きないよね。水分しっかりとってゆっくりしてればいいんじゃね？知らんけど。これ遺体も調べたもんな。あと何？
You've got a lot to do, Sherlock.
裁断室の鍵？こっちじゃねえの。ちょっとどいて。この辺に誰かいなかったっけ？違うな。 わからん。いいケツしてんな。宮殿あんのに。ボルゾナストーリーと事件をやるのはやめて、本編だけ進めようって言って、あれするんだったっけ？言うってこっからどうすんのよ。わからんな。一回外出てみるか。この2階には行けないんだったっけ？前回ここで誰かと話しなかったっけ？手がかりがまるでないな。ちょっと待って、椅子がテレビに近い。これぐらいか？よいしょ。
You've got a lot to do, Sherlock.
違うな。ちょっと待って。マンチョス製の裁断室の鍵。これは何だっけ？現場を調べるか。あれ、ここから入ってきて。他に何もない。
These crime scenes always outdo my imagination.
こっちの部屋調べたっけ？でここの扉が一生室に繋がってるってなって、最近ぬくいよなね。あったかくなってきたっていうか、今日俺半袖で出かけたんだけど、半袖で出かけたっていうか仕事に行ったんだけど、ちょうどよかったよ。すっかり春の陽気だね。そのせいで花粉すごい？俺花粉症じゃないと信じたいけど、今のくしゃみはどうなんだろう。元もすぐ半袖になる？だって暑いんだもん。暑がりだから仕方がないじゃない。で、今日の夜は寒かったけどね。めっちゃ風吹いてて。 上着1枚持ってければよかったと思ったけど。3月から12月まで半袖だろ？よくわかってるじゃん。俺ちょうどいい洋服持ってないんだよね。もう暖かくなったらすぐ半袖。さすがにそうだな。12月も半袖。まあ、半袖っちゃ半袖か。わかんねえ。この衣装室になんか他にないの？これか。
This is a different ritual. A useful tool for a disguise arsenal.
So, Sherry, do you have any ideas about the case?
Perhaps. I think I can deduce
Oh.
what happened here.
瞑想に入れる。待って。どうなった？まあいいや、とりあえず瞑想しよう。何箇所あるんだ？1箇所、2箇所、3、4、5、6。6通りもあんの？これめんどくせえんだよな。鍵、誰が内側から鍵閉めたかだよな。まあいいや。とりあえずこれにしといて。第三者のせいにしといて。こういうことにしよっか。ここで殴った？刺した？殴ったにしとこうか。そしたらここで殺すん。ああ、でも儀式を行ったからこれでいいのか。とりあえず適当でやってみよう。第三者にしといて。これも第三者にしとく？これで確定してみるか。あ、合ってた。
was used as a weapon during a scuffle in the smoking lounge. Then, to ensure no one would interrupt, the murderer locked the door. The unconscious body of the victim was moved to the altar room. Once the body was on the altar, the murderer thrust the dagger into the victim's heart. Symbols were drawn with the blood. The wardrobe was used to hide the bloody robe from anyone's eyes. The killer washed himself and took a clean robe from the hanger before leaving.
Are you alright? You're on the floor, not moving. I think I know what happened here.
で、宮殿の記憶。 犯人の鍵。
I'm starting to put the pieces together. Fabio was stabbed. I see nothing gets past you, Werner. Yes, he was stabbed, but only after being knocked out in the next room and placed here. I do not yet know why. So, who's responsible? Well, it was one person working alone, and the murderer has now donned a robe. He or she could be hiding in plain sight. We have lost time, Werner, but your discretion may prove to be a benediction after all.
これ全部あれする
The
か。
murderer had to have access to this room. After the crime, he used his own key to lock the door. So, who had the key to the altar room?
I'm not sure. As a special guest, I was provided one by Mr. Manchios. He should be able to tell you of any others.
Where can I find him?
Most likely in the main hall, entertaining his guests. He has a mask with
黄金の
gold
星の仮面。
stars. You can't miss him. But please be discreet. We don't want to risk disturbing the revelry.
I know you can untangle this mess.
黄金の金色の星の仮面。金色の星の仮面。金色の星の仮面。どこだ。こいつか。
I'm so excited about the event.
ここにはいないだろう。ここにもいなかったっけ。片っ端から声かけるか。金色の仮面つってもな、みんな同じような仮面つけてんだけど。広間にいるはず。神経質な男。こいつか？
Kurt Manchios, I presume. I'm Sherlock Holmes.
Oh, you must be the one Werner told me about. What a sweet voice you have. It must belong to a handsome young man. Can I call you Sherlock?
As you wish, Mr. Manchios. Mr. Vogel asked me to help you. The body in the altar room requires answers, and quickly. I suspect the murderer to still be here.
What? Lower your voice. I don't want anyone to hear us.
Did you know Fabio well?
People are starting to look at us, Sherlock. Change the subject. I can't believe what happened to him. To me. Such an atrocity. Think what it means for me. A wonderful evening for so many good, influential, and rich people has been ruined. I have betrayed all my promises of exotic delights.
I don't understand. Surely a murder would affect your reputation to a greater extent.
Please, isn't this why you are here? I thought you were a silent magician. Do your tricks and make it go away.
I need to find all those who had the key to the altar room. As far as I know, Mr. Vogel, Fabio, and you had access to it. Is that correct?
That is correct, yes. Also, Matista and Santos.
Santos? Who is that?
Santos Pinchetti, my major domo. In his opinion, at least.
I'd like to speak to Mr. Pinchetti and Matista. Do you have somewhere I might have a private conversation with them?
Of course, of course. Let me think. Matista is entertaining the guests somewhere, and Santos... Oh, yes. He will be busy with the servants. Or the cook. What's that noise? What's going on?
なんだなんだ。
Freeze, filth. You're under arrest.
どうなってる？警察に包囲されてるじゃねえか。あらー。なんて優雅な音楽。
Look at you. Committed a crime, and now I have to free you, kiss your hand and apologize for the inconvenience.
I did tell you that Mr. Vogel and I were innocent. I emphasized it in my statement.
Your statement? Thanks to some bigwigs who work for the so-called good of the country by releasing fleas like you. Thank God we have Vogel in this letter. Once I get to that goldfish, I'll...
Bigwig? Oh, my wretched brother Mycroft and his long nose.
Wait, did you say Mycroft? Mycroft Holmes? Are you the youngest son of Violet Holmes, rest her soul?
You knew my mother?
Not personally, no. Not exactly. I was working on the paperwork for that case.
Would you happen to remember anything of the events?
Well, I didn't make the inquiry, but I remember seeing some notes. Why?
Perhaps we can negotiate. I could be quite useful.
Huh. Got you hooked, right? You know what? Stark and the others think they're the smartest here, thanks to you. Let me get this straight. Are you listening to me, lad?
I'm all ears.
Take this case. Report to me only, to Constable Harvey Oswald. I'll leave everything I have on this table. Find the murderer. Be a real copper. Question the suspects, make them sing, give me something substantial.
And if Mr. Vogel is not a suspect?
If he's innocent, then you can take your favourite degenerate away from here. If you slip or mess with the evidence, then trust me, your brother won't save you from my bludgeon. Meanwhile, I'll be checking the archive for you. If anybody asks, then you're a consulting detective.
Let's make a start then, partner.
I'm glad we managed to get the scoop before the raid.
すべての証拠を手に入れた。文章が長え。鍵？
Back on track to solve the case.
取り調べ室の鍵。違うな。記憶の宮殿が サントツを長所。衣装着替えられる。着替えることはできない。取調室はどこに行くんだ？
Look, I found Werner.
こいつか？
Good day, Mr. Manchios. I am Constable Oswald's partner in this investigation.
Be quick and gentle. Some of your colleagues are untrained boors. Although I don't mind meeting young officers, the new blood here.
If you cooperate in finding Fabio's murderer, there will be no need to meet with the Boers again.
That voice. Werner's friend? You're the policeman. What a disappointment.
Only an undercover agent can scour a ditch full of deviants. I am a consulting detective, although I'm capable of replacing the entire department through my consultations.
Sharp-tongued, I like it. May I presume this tongue will get us out of this trouble? I would be so indebted and glad to repay you.
Nothing's changed. I'm looking for the murderer. That's the only way to get us out of trouble.
But it shouldn't take much time, correct? We're all busy after all.
I need to examine you first.
そういや、セーブはクリアしたんか？いや、全然だよ。こんな1週間足らずでクリアできるほどの内容量じゃないよ。ようやくセーブに、禁じられたセーブに入ったところで、ちょっとクエストやって終わってる、今。うん。化粧している。急いで手を洗った。エルデンリングもまだまだむずくてクリアできそうにないわ。ね、いろんな配信者の動画とか実況を見てるけどさ、難しそうだよね、あれ。でもあれでしょ？開始からもう50分足らずでクリアできる多数だったっけ？みたいな、そういうのあるんでしょ？足すっていうか、もう50分以内でクリアできるみたいな、最速争いが始まってるみたいな。あの人らは上手いからね、俺は上手くないからまだまだ。育毛剤による発疹。潔癖症、年齢を潔癖症にしとくか。
You are so focused on cleanliness that these products are severely damaging your skin.
I would laugh at you. If only my cheeks didn't hurt. Not exactly. I try to take care of my body. A young man who has yet to confront his own aging couldn't hope to understand.
These chemicals are quite literally melting your face.
Ah, the price of beauty. I'll be fine. I'm sure of it.
Such a methodical man who cares for his body but misses the soap under his fingernails. Are you so impatient or perhaps even impulsive?
I wouldn't call myself that. Silly little details. If I missed it, it wasn't important. Or rather, it was less important than who or what I was focused on.
You better ask someone else.
40分とかだね。RTA そんなに早くできるのかな。だって一番最初のボスでもオートジャは2時間ぐらいかかってたのに、それをどうやって倒して40分以内でクリアするんだ。
You better ask someone else. That's not something I know much about. That's not something I know much about. That's not something I know much about. That's not something I know much about.
Do you have any idea who tipped off the police to raid your mansion, Mr. Manchios?
Of course. It was you. I could even say you Sherlocked me in here.
A good guess, but the wrong one. The fellow who did that was Mr. Pinchetti, your major domo.
What? Santos? But how could he even know? If he's not the murderer himself. The ungrateful swine. He has dared to besmirch my reputation.
Not a very eloquent choice of words.
What should I call him then, since he's a snitch? Make him talk, Sherlock. I'm quite certain he knows more about the murder than he has told the police.
That's not something I know much about. I've no idea about that. You better ask someone else. I've no idea about that. I've no idea about that. That's not something I know much about. That's not something I know much about.
You bought an expensive pair of cufflinks for Fabio. Were they his price? Or were they a tip for an exclusive show?
It was pure business. Fabio escorted me a few times. I was merely showing my gratitude.
This pair cost a small fortune. You must be extremely grateful then. Tell me more.
You've thrust a knife in an exposed nerve, Sherlock. Yes, he was my protégé and my beacon also. With my experience and his beauty, we could have achieved anything. I had faith in him. I would have made him.
Mr. Vogel told me a little about your parties, but I would like to know more directly from you.
I'm all yours, Sherlock. You have me arrested and locked here with you alone.
Why did you invite Mr. Vogel as your special guest?
He's a pretty fellow. He's capable of surprising the public. He has a talent for saying words that no one else would wish to either say or hear.
I suppose I can't argue with that.
He is a free addition to the eccentricity of the party, which is fine by me, as long as it enhances my party.
I'd like to know who you usually invite to your parties.
Free minds who are able to leave reality for an evening, who can taste forbidden fruit without prejudice. There is nothing that quite spices up life like these parties, assuming one is old enough and has worked many years for the good of one's country.
Oh, all true labourers, I see. What was Fabio like? His personality, his habits? Anything you can tell me?
He was the brightest star of my parties. Young, magnetic, and full of energy. I don't even want to mention his beauty. Otherwise, I'll be sobbing.
An expensive champion, I imagine.
His performances were flawless. He deserved his payment. Do you think he was murdered because of money?
Possibly. What about the other guests? Were they used to opening their wallets as well?
I wouldn't restrict my guests from anything. I'm sure Fabio received a few coins from others for his services.
あとはどこじゃ。俺こっから出てきたんだよな。こっから出てきて。
This area is restricted.
あ、すいません。誰もいない。誰もいない。あ、ここは通れんのか。ってことは、ここにさっきのおっさんがいたっけ？いねえな。これがさっきのおっさんで、この女の人は
I'm Sherlock Holmes. I'm helping Constable Oswald. You are Matista, Fabio's friend.
This body, yes, it's Matista. But it's a mere shell that will die someday. Just like Fabio.
Please accept my condolences for your friend.
Thank you.
I'm just here to ask questions and find Fabio's murderer.
It will not bring Fabio back.
最近つけられた血が溜まった傷。自分で入れ墨をした。神経質。焼きごてによってつけられた。自分で傷つけた傷。 足かせの傷。
You have both old and new scars. Some from the time when you were a slave with Fabio. Other scars have a different origin. The guests pay good money to torment you?
I am skilled in giving pleasure, but I don't participate in such practices.
I thought your body was...
For sale? It's true. Many unwanted things were done to my body, and the pain helped me to discover...
Cult deities? Yes, the tattoo speaks loudly of it.
Yes. Your gods abandoned me, and the ones I favor now are more protective of me.
How did you escape?
Something happened. One night the master fell down the stairs. I made him fall, and he died. We ran away that day. We managed to get on a ship and traveled here, to Gordona. Fabio and I started a new life here. It was very hard at first, but it became better with time. Until today.
The bruises on your neck are not self-inflicted. Someone else made them.
Some guests can't contain themselves. They even bite, sometimes.
で、こっちの方は誰もいない。開かない。こいつか？
Werner, are you all right?
Oh, yes, yes. Everything's fine. In fact, it's something of a family reunion. My brother spent quite some time in this place himself.
You should not be here. I told the police everything I knew, but they refused to let you go. They require proof to free you.
Ha! What did you expect? The mighty Sherlock Holmes swans in, tells the officers what to think, and the world obeys?
Of course not. Anyway, I struck a deal with the constable, and I've got a free hand in the investigation. I find proof to solve the case for him. He obtains files about my mother's death for me.
Well done. If one has the power or will and can act, then one must. I wonder, suppose you couldn't get the proof to your truth. Would you tell a lie to the guard that enabled my freedom, knowing my innocence? Would that not be just?
There are lines I will not cross, Werner. I will do my best to secure your release, but with proof, not deception.
Really? How many white lies have you told on this island? Why not for me? Why not another?
That is absurd. I can resolve this without compromises. Do not give up hope.
I don't think I can tell you anything about this. I'm not supposed to know anything about this. I can't follow you here. I don't think I can tell you anything about this. I'm not supposed to know anything about this. I'm not supposed to know anything about this. I'm not supposed to know anything about this. I can't follow you here.
I have learned who told the police about the crime. It was Santos Pinchetti.
Do I know him?
The major domo of the manor. He cleans up after you.
Well, then he does his job perfectly. All but invisible. I couldn't tell you the first thing about him.
I know you can untangle this mess. The air here is rather refreshing.
記録庫。
I'd even recommend that some of my friends visit the place.
記録庫。
Have you considered Mr. Santos Pinchetti as a suspect?
The snitch? Have you seen him? I mean, my breath could knock him down. What's so special about him?
As a major domo, he has keys that open all the rooms, including the one to the crime scene. Could have testified only to circumvent suspicion, don't you think? We need to question him.
Right. I'll send our men to fetch him. Stay here. They brought him in, Mr. Holmes. Here's the key to interrogation room number 7. Mr. Pinchetti didn't even resist, our men said.
Thank you.
7番取り調べ室。7番。こっちか。
Mr. Pinchetti, a pleasure to meet you. I'm Sherlock Holmes. I'm helping Constable Oswald.
I've already told him everything I know. I'm only a witness, sir. Everything's in my report.
And I've read it. You forgot to mention that you hold the keys to the room where Fabio was found. I need only to find if the crime was intentional.
But I need to return to my duties.
I doubt the house will fall without you, Mr. Pinchetti. Just be still for a few seconds. Is your greedy nature responsible for the lack of taste and attention to your appearance? The cheap makeup, shabby and dyed clothes? How do you explain those, Majordomo?
The means to practice my profession are limited. I'm sorry you noticed it, sir.
The parties overshadowed your state. You are lucky Kurt Manchios's attention was concentrated elsewhere. In a decent household, you would be asked to leave for far less.
Yes, his attention was undoubtedly concentrated on something other than my appearance.
But one detail stands out on your dirty rags and shoes. The drops of blood.
Oh, that. I don't know anything about it.
Did you know Fabio?
Not personally. He was a frequent guest, and cleaning the mess after his performances was tedious. Mr. Manchios always had a role for him, and mainly the leading one. The parties were always, Fabio-centric?
And Batista? Was she as popular as her partner?
Don't tell her I said this, but I do not think so. Mr. Manchios hired her only because Fabio refused to work without her. Mr. Manchios used to see her as a worker. She was tasked with entertaining the guests, unlike Fabio, who could pick and choose.
Please let me out.
あとはもう何もないな。
Continue our investigation while I look for the papers. Continue our investigation while I look for the papers.
これを見ればいいのか。
I recognize the key from the altar room among these.
Mr. Manchios says that you begged him to be included in the heritage. Isn't that a little extreme, even for a major domo?
He's not only my employer, he's my uncle. And I'm his next of kin. The only one. Mr. Manchios flatly refuses to pay a family member. All I have to do is repay his so-called love. Cleaning up the filth after perverts and decadents. He's imprisoned me. The best I can hope for is a new broom. That's why I wanted to have my part of the inheritance.
Is it that bad? You have a roof above your head, a salary, and the status of a major domo.
For God's sake. I'm forced to dye and stitch my threadbare clothes, and the holes in my shoes are painful. I'm ashamed every time a guest looks at me closely.
Why do you think your uncle treats you this way?
My mother, my uncle's sister, had me illegitimately. She died, and I was given the surname of one of the maids.
But you are entitled to some of the money that belongs to your family.
He thinks not. I was not responsible for my mother's death. I work hard, and he pays me nothing. I feed on the leftovers. While he wastes our estate's property on decadent parties, he paid Fabio handsomely and showered him with expensive gifts for their disgusting relationship.
何時まで？まあ今何分？1時間ぐらいか。まあ12時ぐらいまでかな。うん。今日は頭痛いけど起きてるから見れる？明日仕事は？
I've read the letter about your will. A harsh method of ridiculing Santos.
あ、休みなの？
I doubt he will use mustache wax when he wears no mustache to begin with.
Where did you get it? Is the slug here? Tell him I shouldn't have to provide for him. He's a grown man who should sit on his uncle's neck. He conceives himself as my only heir.
And who is he to you?
He's a leech on my aging body. He has only added problems to my life since the death of his mother.
I fail to see why you made him your major domo.
He needed to know his place, so I taught him.
This area is restricted.
Are you able to help me?
Hey, Toff. You have exactly 1 minute to get lost.
明日丸一日休み。
Continue our investigation while I look for the papers.
62から60番の事件の証拠を全て調べることができる。証拠チケット。証拠はどこで提示するんだ。
Good day. Your ticket, please, if you want me to help you.
これか。
I'd like to check the evidence from this case.
And who are you?
Oswald sent me. I'm a consulting detective.
His partner, then? Let me see. Ah, a ritual murder. What a bunch of degenerates. Wait a second. I'll bring it to the table.
An emergency kit for boredom. Not the time for privacy. Werner's personal sketchbook. A heavily perfumed handkerchief with the initials KM in the corner. It's a miracle this ruby hasn't tempted anyone. All the keys of the mansion on one golden ring. That's not for bedtime reading. The book describes a ritual similar to the one performed in the altar room. Her key to the altar room. A handcrafted charm that contains hair and nail clippings. Thank you, officer.
Kyoko no Kyuden.これサントスが犯人ちゃうの？
Please let me out.